You know how Xbox keeps saying that they're for the gamers? You know, that cheesy, cringe gamer slogan, we're for the gamers. Well, apparently, they're not even for the people who make the games for their brand. Because breaking news, Microsoft's done something stupid again. They just raised the cost of dev kits for developers to even make Xbox games. Yeah, for whatever reason, they decided to make it even harder and more expensive for developers to even get a dev kit to make games for their consoles. And this is exactly why more and more studios are abandoning Xbox altogether. It's ridiculous what's going on. Let's talk about what they did, why it's such a disaster for indie devs, especially smaller budget studios, and how this might be the final nail in the coffin for Xbox. Whew. So, what exactly happened here, guys? Well, Microsoft just announced that they're increasing the price of the official Xbox development kits. These are specialized hardware that studios need to test and build Xbox games so they can put their game on the Xbox. And the price was 1,500. They've raised it to 2,000. That's a 33% increase, effective immediately. Now I know some of you guys might be like, "Oh, big deal. It's only $500. These studios can afford it." It's a lot more complicated than that. If you think about a smaller budget indie studio, a studio that has like less than 10 people, sometimes even less than 5 people working, that's a lot. Just to get your game on a platform that is clearly abandoning its whole entire ecosystem in favor of the cloud and Game Pass, it's not even worth it. The cost to profit ratio is not worth it at this point. They're literally nickel and diming people out of developing software for their consoles. Now, if you're not familiar with dev kits, these aren't optional. If you want to put a game on a console, you need one. You need one to make a game for a console. PlayStation has their own, Nintendo has their own. It's basically the heart of console game development. This is where it all begins and I guess gets conceived and put together. A dev kit. Without it, your game will never reach whatever platform you're trying to get on. So by jacking up the price, Microsoft is basically saying, "Hey, small studios, hope you enjoy not making Xbox games." Like, as if Xbox games weren't even coming out enough already. Now they're doing this. They're literally pricing out smaller studios, smaller developers, and it's a bad thing. And here's why this is insane, guys. The timing makes zero sense. Xbox already has a reputation for being the last place that games release if they even come at all. Most of the time it's just PlayStation and Nintendo that you see some of the major hits come out. Remember Baldur's Gate 3? It was one of the biggest hits of the decade and it came to Xbox months later than everywhere else because the devs struggled to make it even work on the Series S. Because they have that whole stupid thing where it has to work on the Series S in order to go on the Series X. That's not an isolated case either. They have problems left and right with Xbox. So many indies and mid-tier studios have straight up skipped Xbox because the market's small. Game Pass revenue is absolutely unpredictable, and the dev tools are apparently a nightmare to work with. Again, lots of times it just seems like it's a burden to even get your game on an Xbox console. If I was an indie developer, I'd be like, you know what? It's not even worth it. At this point, put it on Steam and call it a day, right? Now Microsoft is basically saying, like I said, yeah, let's make this whole situation harder. Let's charge them even more just to even get started. Because again, you need a dev kit to even get a sniff of that game having a chance of getting onto Xbox. This whole situation is like watching a company light its own console on fire and then sell tickets to the bonfire. Like Xbox is literally selling us tickets to watch this train wreck of a console that's been going on. And this is on top of price hikes for the consumers. They raised the price at retail. They've raised the price for Game Pass. Now they're raising the price for dev kits. The stores are slowly phasing out actual physical Xbox games. Costco and Sam's are liquidating consoles. And nobody knows what is going on here. If I didn't know any better, I would say that they're slowly trying to phase everybody out, whether you're a consumer or a developer, out of even having anything to do with Xbox, because they're just making it difficult. And you know what's wild about all this? Back during the PS4 era, when Sony absolutely crushed it, they dominated. They kind of slowed down a little bit with the PS5, but they were crushing it. They did the opposite of this. Apparently, they gave free dev kits out at indie events and game jams. Like, they literally were giving people dev kits. They saw a cool project and they would be like, hey, we want this on PlayStation. And they would hand the developer a free kit, which I think for smaller studios is a godsend. It should be like that. That's how you get games like Celeste, Hollow Knight, Stardew Valley, you know, all those breakthrough indies that made the PS4 generation legendary. Shovel Knight. Sony lowered the barrier to entry. Nintendo even did that. That's why the Switch OG has so many indies. But Microsoft is literally raising the barrier to entry. They're literally keeping people out, whether it's on purpose, whether it's not. I don't even know what they're doing as a company anymore. And people are upset. The reactions online are pretty brutal for this. There's developers that are calling it tone deaf. They're calling it greedy, self-destructive. One Reddit user even put it perfectly, saying that Titanic's lights are burning out. It's depressing. It's also funny at the same time because this is all true. And this comes, again, like I said, right after Xbox raised console prices, right after they raised Game Pass prices, and they killed off all their exclusives one by one by taking them over to Xbox Game Studios ports of the Switch and the PlayStation. Now it's like all the exclusives are slowly going away. It's like every chance that they get to rebuild goodwill with the gamers and the gaming industry, they swing a hammer at their own foundation and just crack it more and more and more. And I have no idea what is going on with this company anymore. It's sad to see, but here's why this should matter to you, because it does matter to us. It doesn't matter just to developers. Every time Xbox makes it harder or more expensive for small indie studios to publish, you get fewer games, fewer experiments, fewer surprises. The next Vampire Survivors or Lethal Company might just skip Xbox completely. We might not see any solid indie games come to the platform ever again. And if you're an Xbox gamer that's hoping for something brand new, that means your library is literally shrinking and shrinking and shrinking because of their dumb decisions. Meanwhile, PlayStation and Nintendo are eating good. They're cooking. Those eShops are going to be flourishing here within the next 6 months or so. I know the Switch eShop right now is currently in a weird phase because the Switch 2 just came out. But trust me, by Christmas, they're going to be eating good. At this point, like I said, it feels like Microsoft has forgotten what made gaming fun, what made the 360 era fantastic. You're supposed to make it easy for people to create games for your platform and not punish them for trying. Now you're punishing your indie devs. For what? For a company that's worth $500 billion, they could really eat that cost easily. Why do they need to raise it? Instead, like I said, they're nickel and diming the very people who are keeping Game Pass. I mean, if you look at Game Pass, it's all indies. The people that are keeping their ecosystem of the cloud and Game Pass, they're eating them alive. So, yeah, Xbox is screwing up again 110-fold. But this time it's not just another meme moment. It's not like another simple fuck up. I think this is like a behind-the-scenes fuck up. And this one, I think, hurts the future of Xbox more than any other decision that they've made at this point. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Is Xbox beyond saving, or is there still a small chance that they could actually turn this ship around? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you did enjoy this video, hit that like. If you didn't, dislike it and hit that subscription so you don't miss the next video. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.